If you want to add a service that is profitable, fast, clean, fun, and enjoyable for your clients, try the Ultimate Airbrush Face Painting System. It's the fastest, cleanest airbrush face painting system around, and our Ultimate Airbrush stencils are amazing. Check it out in the link below. Hello again. Today I'm going to read another story from my book, The Timing of Chicken Feathers. It's my memoir of 35 years of being a professional clown and crazy man. And there's a lot of great stories in here. So the one I'm going to read today is the story of how I came up with the title, The Timing of Chicken Feathers. It's another Ronald McDonald story. And then maybe I'll get into some of my other stories, because really there's so much here. I don't know I can put it all up on YouTube, but I think it's fun, especially if you're into being children's entertainment. If you want to be good at what we do, I want to be a peer. We are peers in a way, but you don't know that because you really don't know who I am. So that's how I'm letting you know as I'm sharing with some of these stories with you, right? So just to let you know, so here's some of the things in the book, right? How I became a clown. There's a story called Just Another Saturday Morning, which is like the disaster morning from hell while we were going out to work, right? Steve Garvey is my hero. He's a baseball player, if you don't know who he is. Changes Nightly was an improv group that we used to work in. Life as a Superstar, which is kind of about Ronald McDonald, right? The Best Magic Trick Ever, It's Not All Fun and Games, Easter Armageddon, which I just posted just before Easter, Trial by Fire, The Call and the Very Next Day, which is pretty sad, Odd Jobs, I Believe in Magic, Smile at Your Dog, and A Day in the Life. So those are some of the chapter titles. A Day in the Life is just, what is it like to be a full-time professional entertainer? What I do is I go through a month, a regular July in my schedule, and we talk about what I'm doing every day so that you can kind of see what the life of a full-time entertainer in this business is, right? Anyway, this story is called The Timing of Chicken Feathers. And again, it is a Ronald McDonald story, but I'm going to add some of my own touches in between here, but I'll read it because it's written to be read, right? I was working with a friend of mine doing character theme shows throughout the fall of 2000. This was a Ronald McDonald School assembly that included magic, songs, a puppet stage with a window, and a wonderful puppet named Packard that appeared out of the window. I was working as production manager and backstage talent for this particular set of shows. I was not in face. I wasn't Ronald. I was the backstage guy for this. Thus, I handled the music, backstage props, and mine were the hands that brought Packard to life. At one point in the show, Packard is talking to Ronald about a package that's supposed to have been arrived at the school, but it seems to be missing. This is the point in the assembly where Ronald talks about responsibility. You see, the delivery of the package is Packard's responsibility. So Ronald wants to help him realize that he should follow through with his duty. Next, Packard pretends to walk down the stairs out of sight behind the stage and look for the missing package. And the audience hears Packard yell out as he finally spots the missing item on top of a big pile of other things. We then hear a tremendous crash, including a bunch of chickens cackling loudly. And finally, Packard returns to his window with the missing package. Ronald and I thought that it would be funny to blow a bunch of feathers out the window when the chickens cackle at the end of the big crash. It sounded easy enough. So Ronald and I bought a bag of chicken feathers, a small plastic tube to put them in, which I then Velcroed to the back side of the window. At this time, when Packard walked down the stairs, I secretly grabbed the tube of feathers, and when the crash came, I blew the feathers out the window. Right? Sure. Easy. The kids did laugh, but it seemed that show after show, we got different reactions from the feathers. We tried it just before the noise of the chickens. We tried blowing them way up into the air above the puppet stage. We blew them out the window. We tried white feathers, colored feathers, mixed feathers, black feathers. Finally, at one point, we realized that we had spent about 6 weeks working on the timing of those stupid feathers. We finally reached a decision of blowing all the white feathers out of the window just after the chickens start cackling. I don't think anyone else, other than clowns and magicians like us, would spend that kind of energy working on something so simple. But it's worth all that trouble. When we got the laughs consistently, we then got laughs consistently show after show. And we knew that we had found the feathery sweet spot. I decided that if I ever wrote a book about my memoirs as a clown, I would call it The Timing of Chicken Feathers. Timing is how I create magic, how I inspire wonder, how I cause laughter. But finding the sweet spot comes from practice, and I'm going to say from trial and error, right? Trial and error. It's been said that comedians, that they either have timing or they don't. I beg to differ. Good comedians have tried every possible timing for their punchlines. They know which ones work the most consistently. That's all. Whether you're selling income property, washing cars, or writing a novel, practice is how to create magic in life. One of the bits I regularly perform in my Ronald shows is a magic routine where I bring out a bright green silk that changes colors right under the child's nose. So I'm going to just talk through this, okay? But I did this visual bit in another video. It's the color changing silk under the nose. And here's the point, right? So I do this right under the kid's nose. I didn't used to do it under the kid's nose, but then I tried it under the kid's nose and I liked it. It would be green. I'd show my hands empty, stick it in, pull it out red. Stick it in, pull it out red. Stick it in the rest of the way, and now the whole thing is red. I let the kids hold it. I let them examine it. It changed colors right under their nose. Then I say, okay, you're going to do it. Now it's red. I show my hands empty. I stick it in. I say the magic word. Now it's going to turn, it was green, it turned red. Now it's going to turn back to, I ask them, they always say green. I pull it out and it's blue. It's a surprise, right? It's not supposed to be a third color. So again, stuffing. And this time when I hand it over to them, they pull it out of my hand and I show both of my hands completely empty. So it made 3 color changes completely under their nose. And then I follow through, at the end. So then the next phase of the routine is I say, how do you, what do you think's the hardest color? And I can pick rainbows, hearts, stars, American flag, a picture of your boyfriend. I don't care. So again, I'm just being silly, right? Because it doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what the hardest color really is it's not a color at all. It's invisible. So we're going to turn it invisible. And what I do is I have the kids stand in front of me. I reach around their head and I stuff it in my hand. So they're looking right at my hands from behind. Stuff it in. We count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It disappears right under their nose. And I say, okay, check your pockets. Now they check their pockets and they can't find it. Then I go, oh, that's right. You've got these crazy shoes. I'll take their shoe off. And I did, so to talk about how this changed, this has changed. I changed it over the years. I didn't used to do it around the kid's head. I started doing that when I was doing table to table at this restaurant. I would reach around somebody sitting at their table and it was a great bit. So I put it in my show. I have the kids stand there and I do it around the kid's head. So they're watching from behind. Then when I go for their shoe, what I do is I say, oh, look, there is something in your shoe. Are you ready? There is something. And I go, and I take a big smell of it. And I go, ooh, there is something in your shoe, just like that. So that's the comedy, right? Adding a surprise thing that they didn't expect when I said there is something in your shoe. And then what I do is I show my hands empty, I reach down in the shoe, and it still doesn't appear. So I'm like in trouble, magician in trouble. Then I go, let me put your shoe back on. But instead of putting the shoe on, I reach, oh yeah, I see. It's in your sock. I pull their sock and I shake it. And then I do this great bit where I go, I hate to do this, because they now know I'm going to smell the sock. They can tell. They're laughing in anticipation. And then I smell, but I tip the sock back and it will come, the breath in my nose will catch that sock. And so it's a great visual. And it catches on my nose. That's hilarious. That's the climax of the routine, right? I do then show my hands empty, reach in the sock, and pull the thing out of the sock. So it does reappear out of the sock. But sniffing that sock, that's the climax of the bit. That's the laughter. That's the big part. That's the part. So, what I write in the book is it worth smelling the sock? And yes, it is. And I tried that a bunch of different ways. I tried smelling this. I tried it smelling like that. But when I tipped it back and it caught on my nose and it stuck on my nose, that was the sweet spot, right? Most kids' socks don't smell that bad. Some kids' socks smell really bad. Is it worth smelling the sock? Every single time. It's worth it. That's all there is to it. So anyway, that's why the book's called The Timing of Chicken Feathers, because I spent 6 weeks changing the timing of chicken feathers until we got to the part that got the most laughs. And now, then we did that show for 2 years. We didn't have to change it because we knew the spot where it got the most laughs. Okay? So, I don't know. I like it. I'm going to do the Just Another Saturday Morning next, and that one is worth it. That's a good one. That is, what is it? When everything that can go wrong does go wrong. Yeah, that's one of those. So anyway, more stuff coming. Have a great day. Don't forget to sign up for a coaching session, because I'd love to help you be more successful at your business. And I do offer a money-back guarantee. So if you don't think you got your value, I'll give you your money back. All right. Have a great day.